So the objective of this exercise is to achieve a total calculation of the flat distances on an unbent tube. In other words, dimensions on the flats and length dimensions on the bends, no matter if they are 90 degrees or if they're 45 or at an odd angle. What I've done here is that I have created a sketch within the assembly environment. I went into the express route. From express route, I created sketches. I'm using Solid Edge ST7. Most of the principles are the same for ST4 and above and even below. But what I did is I created individual sketches and I put them on different planes. Some of the planes look like this. Notice how as I created the planes in order to create the individual line segments, and also notice how some of these segments are even at odd angles. With this said, I don't need the reference planes anymore for what I need to do, but I do need to go ahead and create some tube. So I'm going to click on my tube, and what I will do is I will save this. I don't want an ANSI metric. I'm going to use an ANSI inch part. And with that said, I don't want to use the default values. I would like to use, say, a bend radius of 3 inches and an outer diameter of 0.75 and a minimum flat. I don't really care what that is. Wall thickness at 0.1, well, not 1.25, 0.125. Well, see, look, I messed that up. There we go. 0.125. There we go. And of course, I don't want it solid. I'll give it a file name of pipe 2 only because I've already called it pipe 1 before. Pipe 2. I'm going to go ahead with this and I'm going to save it to my desktop. Now, with that done, I'm going to select the sketch. Notice I'll select this sketch. It's all in one plane, so it selects together. And then I'll select this also. It's also in one plane. I'll also go ahead and check it off, and it will create the pipe. Looks good. So I will go ahead and check that off. And it's ready for another pipe, but I don't need another pipe. Let me rotate this around so that you get a good feel of what this is looking like. Okay, so what I need to do now is I need to do something slightly different. I don't need to see the sketches anymore. Let me go ahead and make sure that these planes stay off. And I also don't need to see my coordinate systems. And I will be looking at PMI. Now, I created some previous model views, but what I need to do is I'm going to go ahead and kill this previous model view so that we don't, there we go, so that we don't need to mess with it anymore. I just deleted it. Okay, so there were some planes previously created. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of those real quick, only because I'm going to create them again. There we go. So with this said, I need to create some PMI. PMI is product manufacturing information, and you have this capability in ST4. I'm going to look under, actually I'm going to close out of Express Route. And now I'm back at the assembly level itself. And under PMI, I notice that I have views here. And what I would like to do before I create these views is I'd like to put dimensions. And once more, this is Solid Edge ST7 coming smart with the video tooltips. I'm going to go ahead and hit Smart Dimension. Oh, well, look, I don't have my center lines. Well, how do I get my center lines? I'm going to choose Select. I'm going to right-hand click in the middle of my screen. I'm going to go to Show Hide All Components. And I will tell it to turn on center lines. And that will give me the center lines here. So now once more, back to Smart Dimension. I know that there's a dimension here. I know that there's a dimension here. Now, there's a dimension here also, but as I pull it up, it shows as a radius. I don't want to see it as a radius, but I want it as an arc length. So what I will do is I will come back up to my Smart Step ribbon bar and choose length. And with that shown, I can go ahead and place it. This is the length. This is the length of the arc itself. Well, I can grab this guy just for aesthetics, just to make him look good, and I'll make him kind of look like that. I need to continue on here. Once more, I need an arc length, and it's the same. And because they're 3-inch radius, then the arc length would also still be the same here. Now notice as I click here, though, I am not able, well, it looks like I am able to. See if I can make this guy happen. There he goes. Notice how his dimension is also the same as the others, but he's off at a different angle itself. Pull this guy out. Oh, see? Okay, so now we have an issue here. Our dimensions are not aligned to the view. So how can we deal with this? What I'll do is I will create a plane and have our dimensions locked to that plane. So what I'll do first is that I will reach back under Home, and not under Home, but under Features, and I will say I'd like to create a plane by 3 points, and I will move over this arc. I'm looking for key points. I know that there's a key point here. There he is. Here's a key point there. See if I can get him to come up again. Notice how that dot in the middle of the screen. I'm going to choose that as my first key point. I'm just going to click right here, and now I'll choose this endpoint, and I'll also choose this endpoint. So with that said, I should be able to now come back under my PMI and lock the plane to here, and then continue on with my smart dimension. My smart dimension should show up as 2 also. This should also come up as 2. And this guy right here, he should give me the ability now to be a length, which shows up appropriately at 4.72. Now, at this point, I don't need to see that plane anymore. And as I'm looking at the model itself, the dimensions are kind of, they're not necessarily in line with each other, but deliberately I've made them that way because these are PMI dimensions, and PMI dimensions are not a drawing. But with this said, what I want to do is I want to save this information. I'm going to save it by creating a model view, and I'm going to call it my PMI length view, and click OK. I'll go ahead and save this assembly, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new drawing. I need an ANSI draft. Once more, this is Solid Edge ST7, but in your case, what you'll do is that you'll just choose an ANSI inch draft. Click OK, and as I pull this in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, give me a view of assembly 2, and I will, hopefully it's assembly 2. No, it was assembly 1. Go ahead and click OK. Oh, you know what? I can actually bring in, nope, I guess not. I thought I'd bring in my PMI from here, but I'll choose Open. And notice how the view itself comes in just a straight isometric view. Looks fine, but it's kind of deceptive. So what I really need to do is that I need to, under my view options, I need to ensure that I'm doing my PMI length view, and click OK. And notice how the dimensions are there on the screen. As I go to place my view, This is the end view that we'll essentially need because it gives me all the correct dimensions. Now I do have a few more things on here that I don't need to see. This is a block that comes in from the PMI view. I really don't need it. As a matter of fact, I could just delete it off. And these guys right here, they should be able to be turned off also within the properties itself. So for example, if I needed to turn off all my sketches and maybe I can do it this way. What I want to see, I do want to see my center line. And I do have PMI view, and I'll say use configuration or model, and I'll update my view, and there it is. So now it's cleaner. These are my center lines. This is the tangent edges of the tube itself, and as I were to zoom in, you can see the dimensions. The dimensions are not going to lay flat on each other. Why? Because they're not flat in 3D. This is the view that you're after. I hope this helps. This is Cecil Pruitt with Spatial Integrated Systems.